Oh, hello. Welcome to the store. We've got lots of books to choose from. Just let me know if you need any help.
Whoa! Oh, goodness. I'm so sorry. I'm usually better at keeping track of my coils, but I was focusing on the story. I apologize. Oh, it's you. Hello again. Fancy seeing you at the coffee shop. What a pleasant surprise. Oh, right. Let me get you unwrapped there. Apologies. I am the protective type, you see. So when there was a chance you might fall and hurt yourself, my tail leapt into action. Or rather, coiled into action, as they say. And after I saw it was you, it became just a little bit harder to let go. But there we are. Good as new. It is nice to see you in the wild. I must look different without an apron, but hopefully none too shabby. What brings you to the bookshop today? Ah, yes. I am also just browsing. I like to come to this particular store. It's the largest one for miles, you know. We Nagas don't often do well in smaller stores. This one has aisles wide enough to accommodate someone of my stature. So long as my mind doesn't wander, I can usually keep my coils from being too much of a hazard. But you do seem to have a way of stumbling into them. In any case, do you like to read? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you do. You're in a bookshop right now. I am always a fan of those who spend their time among the written word. There is something magical about the way words can transport someone to a different place, yes? The right phrases in the right order can unlock the imagination. What kind of books do I prefer? Well, I'm a bit traditional, really. I like older stories, fables, and fantasy. Not to say there is anything wrong with science fiction or more realistic tomes, but I just find worlds where anything can happen much more endearing. People who can summon roses with a wave of their hands, change their forms at will, create monsters to battle, or to love, if that is the preference. One of the reasons I like this shop in particular is because it has a rather nice selection of stories from my part of the world. Nagas tend to prefer scrolls to books. Perhaps it's some affinity for length, But even in this format, they are just as endearing. Oh, this one is one of my favorites. I could show it to you if you like. Accompany me to the reading nook. There is one near the windows that accommodates larger creatures. I spend a lot of my free time there. Of course, there is no pressure to. I wouldn't want to bore you with old stories. Oh, you're interested? Wonderful. Let us make our way there then. This is my favorite place here. The sunlight comes through the windows in a lovely manner to warm my scales. Bit of warmth, a bit of reading, it is one of my favorite pleasures of life. Plus, the beanbags are much friendlier to the Nagas than the chairs. In a pinch, they can even give me something to squeeze during more exciting moments. Come, sit with me. I normally take up most of the space, but I always have room for company. You can sit on this beanbag. Brace your back against my coils. There we are. I hope you don't mind if my tail crowds in a bit. As much as I enjoy this bookshop, they do keep it rather cold in here in the summer. In any case, this is my favorite book among all of those within these walls. It is rather childish perhaps, but it is a collection of fairy tales from my homeland, old ones. There is a certain pleasant simplicity to them. There is an obstacle and a goal. The obstacle is overcome, whether it be a dragon, a curse, a fear of judgment, and the goal is reached, be it conquest, riches, love. We wish in our own time, perhaps, that the world was so simple, huh? I am a very sappy serpent on occasion, but would you like to hear one? You would? Wonderful. Well, get comfortable. Hope you don't mind if I drape a coil across your lap. living blankets are the best for story time. So, let us begin. Once, in a far-off land of shifting sands and shining scales, there was a prince of Nagas. His length was seemingly endless, and his gaze was as irresistible as any jewel or treasure. He sat looped around the great throne, coils as thick as carriages piled lazily around his great fortune. Once every 100 sunfalls, a traveler would come to seek to sample the prince's riches. They would attempt this in many ways. Some used stealth, others tried force, and others yet attempted guile and flattery. Each in their own turn failed in their quest. Those who used stealth stood no chance, for there is no quieter footfall than the slither of a serpent's tail. The prince would hear them. Those who used force fell to his coils, tightly bound and lost in their depths. And those who used guile, they were the worst of all, for they fell to the prince's eyes. Their deception failed, finding the Naga's gaze far more beguiling. Under that gaze, it is impossible to lie. He asked those who tried guile what their heart's desire was. Most said money, a few said power. These mundane desires did not entertain the prince, so those men would be forced to serve in his palace for a time, until he felt they had served their penance. 100 sunfalls came and went again and again. Those who came failed to leave with a single coin or trinket from the prince's great riches. The prince grew bored, and the would-be thieves who heard of the prince's riches were discouraged by the warnings of those who had met his wrath. By the time the next traveler came, the prince had been alone for some time. This traveler did not rush in sword drawn, did not sneak in cloaked in black. This traveler simply walked in, a cup of tea in hand. "What is it you desire?" the prince asked the traveler, expecting lies and guile. "To take tea," the traveler replied. "It is not often one gets to share a drink with the prince of Nagas." This did not quiet the prince's suspicions. Great coils massed themselves on all sides, slithering smoothly, shimmering with power. "Do you think I will believe you desire something so simple as that? Many have come with such stories." "And many are not me," said the traveler. "I have heard stories of you. Many come looking to take and harm. I think such people do not see your true value." "And what value is that?" asked the prince, coils crowding in closer, thick and heavy, ready to strike, ready to bind. The traveler showed no fear as he spoke again. "Your story. I am a storyteller, you see. Though I fear yours is a lonely one. Many who sit high find their spirits low. People come with want in their eyes, but never the want of company. I desire little else. Take tea with me. Let us talk as friends." The prince did not believe this. His coils flowed outwards, a wave of silky, slithering, serpentine flesh. They enfolded the traveler from his toes to his chin in shimmering scales. He was brought to the prince, whose eyes rippled with their mesmerizing power. Yet there was confusion and uncertainty in his hypnotic eyes. "Tell me what it is you truly desire, or I will swallow you up whole right here." The prince's coils tightened, squeezing all but the barest of breaths from the traveler. The placid smile of the enthralled painted his face, despite the danger. With what little breath remained in his lungs, he said 3 words, his heart's desire: "To know you." The prince's coils relaxed in shock, for this was the truth, complete and whole. The traveler slumped amidst the great lengths of the prince's body, and the great Naga looked upon him with new eyes. His coils closed again, but they were gentle, soft, caring. They pulled the traveler close as the prince retrieved the fallen teacup. The prince, who was stunned and perhaps more, accepted the traveler's request. They would spend years of bliss together. The storyteller entertained and delighted the prince with tale after tale. This storyteller, the last of the wanderers to find the prince's treasure, received that most precious of things, a bond of love. It is said that in the deserts of the east, one can find statues of the traveler and the prince, Coils winding about the traveler who wears a crown to match the Nagas. And he is known as the King of Stories. So, that's the first story of the book. You see, all these stories were collected by the same traveler, and he... Oh, I'm sorry. It seems I've bound you up a little bit more than I meant. I'm sorry, that story makes me feel at that, affectionate, shall we say? And, you are very warm. Though, judging from how warm you are right now, you don't really mind, do you? Why don't you stay just a little longer? I could tell you another story if you like. Perhaps even reenact one if it takes your fancy.